Good morning, everyone. I welcome you all. It's with a great pleasure and honor, on behalf of all of you, I would like to welcome Prabhajika Mataji, Bhavaniprana Mataji, and Prabhajika Divyanandaprana Mataji. We are so fortunate that they are with us, and thanks goes to Sarda Mahila Committee that they sponsor Mataji to come here, and that's why we have benefit of having them. So at this point, both of them, they joined Sarda Math many years ago, and now they have dedicated their lives for the welfare of the others and helping others and providing the message, spiritual message everywhere in the world. So both of them are very active on this, and Radhaji will give more detailed introduction of each one of them. So at this point, before we start the program, I would like to go over the outline of the program for today. After this, there will be a presentation of flower offering to Mataji, and then we'll have the opening song by Krishna Parthasarathi. And after that, we'll have Radhaji provide the introduction of Bhavaniprana Mataji. And then it will be followed by a talk by Bhavaniprana Mataji. And the subject for her the talk is Swami Vivekananda and Universal Brotherhood. So after her talk, Radhaji will provide the introduction of Divyanandaprana Mataji. And then the talk will be given by her. And topic for Divyanandaprana Mataji is the essence of Vedanta. So after their talks, it will be a very interesting session for all of us to actively participate in that. And people should ask more questions. This is our opportunity to get as much we can get out of them in terms of whatever their knowledge is and how they can share that with us. So after the Q&A, it'll be for about half an hour, and then there'll be closing remarks and the closing chant. And the lunch will be at 1 o'clock. Also, I want to just let you know one thing, that there's a small bookshop was set up there by Sarda Mahila Samiti. And also, people should check it out about the Samvit magazine so they can subscribe, which is like, there are some other that Ramakrishna order they have, like Prabuddha Bharata, but Samvit is also at the Sarda Math level that they do that. So I would encourage everyone to check that out. So at this point, I would like to invite Mataji to come on the stage, please, and Radhaji. So Divyanandaprana Mataji, please come. So now we'll have the opening song by Krishna Parthasarathy. Please come.
च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणी अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। शारदे शारदे वीणवादन विशारदे वन्दे तव पदे शारदे वीणवादन विशारदे वन्दे तव पदे शारदे वीणवादन विशारदे वन्दे तव पदे शारदे नारद जननी नारद जननी चतुर्वदन नायकी मुक्ति मुक्तिदायकी नारद जननी चतुर्वदन नायकी मुक्ति मुक्तिदायकी नलिन दललोचनी भवमोचनी हंसवाहिनी हंसगामिनी शारदे वीणवादन विशारदे वन्दे तव पदे शारदे इंद्रादि सकललो इंद्रादि सकललोकादिनि वन्दित पादारविन्दे इंदुविडम्बन मन्दस्मितयुत सुन्दर मुखार विन्दे इंदुविडम्बन मन्दस्मितयुत सुन्दर ಮುಖಾರ ವಿಂದೇ ಬಂದಾರು ಸುಜನ ಬಂದಾರ ದಯಾ ಸದನೆ ಮೃದುಗದನೆ ವಾಣಿ ನಿತ್ಯ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣಿ ವರದೆ ರಾಮದಾಸ ಹೃದಯಾಲಯೇ ವಾಣಿ ನಿತ್ಯ ಕಲ್ಯಾಣಿ ವರದೆ ರಾಮದಾಸ ಹೃದಯಾಲಯೇ ಶ್ರೀ ಶಾರದೆ ವೀಣ ವಾದನಮಿ ಶಾರದೆ ವಂದೇ ತವ ಪದೇ ಶಾರದೆ ಅಮ್ಮ ತ್ವಮೇವ ಮಾತಾ ಚ ಪಿತಾ ತ್ವಮೇವ ತ್ವಮೇವ ಬಂಧು ಚ ಸಖಾ ತ್ವಮೇವ ತ್ವಮೇವ ವಿದ್ಯಾ ದ್ರವಿಣಂ ತ್ವಮೇವ ತ್ವಮೇವ ಸರ್ವಂ ಮಮ ದೇವ ದೇವ. One last that Swamiji loves so much. Naham naham tuhu tuhu sharanagata sharanagata naham naham tuhu tuhu sharanagata sharanagata naham naham tuhu tuhu sharanagata sharanagata naham naham tuhu tuhu sharanagata sharanagata. And then this is my variation. Naham karta hari karta. 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 Naham hari om.
Thank you, Krishna, for that soulful singing. I want to introduce Pravrajika Bhavaniprana Mataji. She has joined Sri Sharada Math at Chennai, India in the year 1975 after completing her bachelor degree in dental surgery. She was initiated by revered Swami Vireshwaranandji, the 10th President of Ramakrishna Math and Ramakrishna Mission. She served in the order in different capacities in its headquarters and Sister Nivedita Girls' School, Kolkata, till she was given the charge of President and Secretary of Sri Sharada Math, Ramakrishna Sharada Mission, Guntur in South India in 2001. In addition to this, she was made the trustee and member of governing body of Sri Sharada Math and Ramakrishna Sharada Mission. She has spoken in several venues, including internationally in USA and Canada as well. One well-known fact about Mataji is she herself is a melodious proficient singer herself. She has trained in Carnatic music quite in her early years. And if you were to go to Guntur, Matt, you would really be blessed to listen to her sing, and we can understand how singing can bring us close to the divine, how it can be the method. And another thing, a personal touch I wanted to say is Mataji is so externally appearing simple, but she is full of wisdom, and she imparts it when we ask for it. Please, without further delay, I would like Pravrajika Bhavaniprana Mataji to address us.
नमः श्री यतिराजाय विवेकानंद सूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. I am extremely glad to be present here. I feel blessed, honored, I should say, to be invited to this place in this First Unitarian Church, Oakland, and to stand on these holy grounds where once upon a time the great Swami Vivekananda stood and delivered his wonderful address. And I consider myself very fortunate, and I thank all the devotees who have made this possible for me. And in fact, Swami Vivekananda had visited this place on his second visit in 1900 on invitation from Revered Benjamin Fay Mills, who had attended the Parliament of Religions, Chicago in 1893, heard him speak and was very much impressed. And today my topic is going to be Swami Vivekananda and universal brotherhood. We know Swami Vivekananda was a multifaceted spiritual genius. His contribution is in various levels. He is famous as the patriotic saint of India, an orator by divine right. More than anything, he was intensely spiritual and an adept in meditation and a person of God realization, a realized soul. He was born on 12 January 1863 and left his mortal coil on 4 July 1902. Within this short span of 39 years, he did wonders, we can say. In fact, he revolutionized the very thought current of the entire world. Swamiji had a magnetic personality, and his words had tremendous effect on anyone who heard him even once. Roman Rolla, a famous biographer of his, tells many years later, he writes, I can't go through these sayings of his even now without feeling a sense, a thrill. I feel a thrill and a sense of this even after such a long time. Then it is like an electric shock. And what must have been their effect when these words actually issued forth from the lips of the great saint. Swami Vivekananda said he had a message for the West as Buddha had a message for the East. His primary concern wherever he went was man in bondage. And whether in East or West, Swamiji found mankind in chains. And of course, that was the time when the West was at the climax of material prosperity. But this luxury, comfort, and pleasures had not brought increase in happiness and peace of mind. Rather, there was violence, hatred, immorality, mental disturbances increasing in alarming rate everywhere. So, at that special time, Swamiji taught this wonderful life-giving message of Vedanta, the universal message to everyone. And Vedanta tells the basic cause of all our problems is ignorance. Ignorance about the true nature of man and also the ultimate destiny of man. And Swamiji taught about the majesty of the soul, its infinite power, purity and freedom. Let me point out to you one thing, that is when we tell Swamiji taught about the infinite majesty of the soul. By soul we do not mean the mind, intellect or ego as many Westerners may think. We actually mean the consciousness which is beyond body, mind, intellect or ego. And Swamiji used to say that he declares man is essentially divine. And he says, a cow never steals nor does a wall tell a lie, but they remain a cow and wall always. But a man, a human being, can behave like a devil, a beast, but he has the potentiality to realize God. He can do it, he can, if he really wishes, because he is potentially divine. Swamiji many times said, man, he is not a sinner, he is not a creature of circumstances, he has a spark of the divine. He says, allow me to call you by that sweet name, brethren, Amritasya Putra, children of immortality. Yea, the Hindu refuses to call you a sinner. Ye are the children of God, the sharers of immortal bliss, holy and perfect beings, ye divinities on earth. Sinner, it is a sin to call a man so. It's a standing libel on human nature. Shake off this delusion that you are sheep and you are souls immortal, spirits free. Ye are not the matter, ye are not the bodies. Matter is your servant, not you the servant of matter. So this awakening of human soul from its darkness of ignorance, the sleep of ignorance and delusion is what Swami Vivekananda accomplished wherever he was, whether in East or the West. He says, my goal can be put into these few words, to preach unto mankind the inherent divinity and how to manifest it in every moment of life. He says, religion is being and becoming. Religion is realization and not merely a theory. And if religion cannot help man, wherever he is, whatever he is, it has not much use. It will remain a theory in the hands of a chosen few. So Swamiji aimed at the comprehensive welfare of the whole world, and his method, the method he adopted was practical Vedanta. So the first point Swamiji taught was the divinity of man. The second important teaching is the harmony of religions. Having the conviction that all religions are true, Swamiji was opposed to the very idea of conversion. He preached that all religions had an equal claim for salvation and all religions led to the same ultimate goal. And this truth was taught long before, ages before in our country, where the ancient scriptures, Vedas, out of them the Rig Veda declares, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. Truth is one, the sages call it by various names. And Swamiji so asked, a Muslim, may he be a better Muslim, and a Christian to be a better Christian, and a Hindu to be a better Hindu, and no need of any conversion. He gives a simple example. The seed is put in the ground, earth, air and water are placed around it. Does the seed become earth, air or water? No, it becomes a plant. So, also it develops into its own line of growth, assimilating the earth, air and water, but converting it into plant substance, but it grows into a plant only. Similarly, each one of us should grow into our own lines of development, and there is no necessity of changing or conversion. And the third important thing that Swamiji taught was the synthesis of religions. That was one of his chief message. The different branches of religion that we have, like dualism, non-dualism, qualified non-dualism, and many other variations, all these are correct. According to Swamiji, he says that the same truth is looked upon from different standpoints, different angles, according to the tendency, capacity, or temperament of an individual aspirant. And there is no contradiction in these things. And he gives another example. If different pictures of the sun are taken from different heights, all of these pictures, each of these pictures is equally correct picture of the original sun. So he said, we travel not from error to truth, but from truth to truth, at best from lower truth to higher truth. So that should be the end of all fanaticism and quarrels regarding religions, and acceptance and not tolerance is his main teaching. And Swamiji taught that the essence of religion can be put into these few words. Each soul is potentially divine. The goal is to manifest the divinity by controlling nature, external and internal. Do this by work or worship, psychic control, or by philosophy, by anyone or more or all of this, and be free. And that is the essence of religion. Everything else, like doctrines and dogmas, rituals or books or temples or forms, are all but secondary details. Swamiji said the variation is the sign of life. This is one advantage, that we have a choice to select whatever suits to our temperament. All cannot be made to fit into same rigid ideals. All religions are going to the same ultimate truth, and as many religions, so many paths. But one more thing also, behind all these different religions, there is a unity behind this variety, and the internal soul of every religion is one and the same and not contradictory. To quote Swamiji, we must learn that the truth may be expressed in 100,000 ways, and all these ways are true. Suppose we all go with vessels in our hand to fetch water from a lake, one taking a jar, another a bucket and a cup, and so forth. And we all fill our vessels with water. Our minds are like the vessels we are carrying, and God is like the water filling in each of these vessels, assuming the shape and size of the vessels. And just like the same water is filling in vessels of different sizes and shapes, the same God exists behind all religions, and that's why they are not contradictory. So the language of the soul is one, the language of the nations are many. So the difference between the religions is only one of expression and not of substance. And Swamiji also said each religion has essentials and non-essentials, just like a paddy, a grain of paddy has the husk and the grain inside. We have to accept the grain or the inner core of every religion, in which all the great religions have common meeting ground. And we should not give undue importance to the husk or the outer covering where we may differ. But we should also recognize the necessity of those things for ordinary individuals still in kindergarten level. So religion has three aspects, as Swamiji says. One is the principles, where all religions have common meeting ground. The second is mythology. There is various stories like Puranas, epics, which to support this truth to be practicable in our human life. And the third is the rituals. So in matters of rituals and mythology we vary, but in matters of principle there is something common behind all religions. But even these things cannot be left out as unnecessary, because for an individual in the beginning, we need all these things to support us to progress in our practices. Swamiji also said, actual practice is much more essential than mere frothy talk. An ounce of practice is worth tons of theory. Swamiji exemplified universal brotherhood in his very life itself. From his early life, we see that he had a rational and scientific bent of mind, and never accepting anything unless and until he was convinced of the truth of it. To give a small example, when he was a very young boy in his house, his father had kept the different tobacco pipes for smoking for different caste people. And Swamiji would not take anything for granted. He himself experimented using all those pipes and comes to the decision that in this way you are not going to lose your caste or anything like that. Nothing really bad happens to any person. So while Swamiji was in the West, many a times he was not admitted to many important hotels or some important places, thinking that he was a Negro because of his dark complexion. But Swamiji, he never denied this and tried to prove that he was a Hindu and not a Negro, because that would make a Negro inferior to him and he would think he is superior. Swamiji, on the other hand, says, what? To accept any privilege at the expense of another man? I can't imagine that. So even a Negro is his own brother. That was, he never. And another time also when Swamiji, when he landed, there was a rousing reception given by many people, and seeing that a Negro porter came and shook his hand and wants to congratulate him, thinking that Swamiji was a Negro. But Swamiji never tried to correct that his false conception that he was only a Hindu and not a Negro. So that was his true feeling of brotherhood, whatever the people were. And on the day of his phenomenal success in the Parliament of Religions, when the richest and most comfortable houses were all open to him, and instead of sleeping on a comfortable bed at the night, the whole night he spent weeping in tears, lying on the floor, thinking of the poor and miserable people in his country. How can he enjoy all these comforts when his own brothers are suffering? Such was his feeling of brotherhood. And he never felt that he was a stranger while in the West. Wherever he was, he could easily accommodate with anyone and everyone, and according to the circumstance also. In fact, we can say the best part of his life and was spent in teaching and preaching the message in the West only. And on the day he delivered his phenomenal first speech on 11th September 1893, when he addressed all the audience as my sisters and brothers of America, what was it that made so many people in the audience to give such a thunderous applause and cheer for such a long time? Of course, not merely the words or his eloquence, but it was his intense feeling of oneness, the feeling of brotherhood, that he belonged to everyone. He was belonging to the whole universe. That was felt by everyone in the audience, and that was the reason that they all felt so much happy at that. Swamiji used to say, 3 things are necessary to make every man great and every nation great. Number 1 is the conviction in the power of goodness. Number 2, absence of jealousy and suspicion. Number 3 is helping all who are trying to be good and to do good. Due to the blessings of science and technology, not only human beings, even different countries and races have come closer than before. But this geographical closeness is only superficial and temporary. To create an inner bridge between man and man, That is essential. Of all the factors that unite men and everywhere, religion is the most important motive power, we can say, which molds the destiny of man. Religion is that which supports, unites and holds together the people everywhere. That is dharmo rakshati rakshita. That is the concept of religion in Mahabharata, the famous epic of India. So, religion brings for peace for one's own self as well as for others. And religious maturity makes for more understanding, tolerance, and the feeling of brotherhood. For a broad-minded person, the whole universe is like one's own family. That is what said as Udara Charitana Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And Swami Vivekananda, he wanted a total all-round development of man, physical, mental, intellectual, and spiritual, simultaneously should be developed. So the method he proposes is the path of yoga. We have 4 yogas in Hinduism: the path of knowledge, Gnana Yoga; the path of action, Karma Yoga; the path of devotion, Bhakti Yoga; and the path of psychic control and meditation, Raja Yoga. Each of these paths has equal potentiality to lead any man to perfection. But Swamiji said a combination of all these yogas was the best and the most conducive way for achieving development of human beings everywhere. And he says that each of these yogas represent one particular aspect or one particular faculty in a human being, such as reason, emotion, and will. And Swamiji wanted a total development of all these faculties. And he said, would to God that all men were so constituted that in their minds that all the elements of philosophy, mysticism, emotion, and of work were equally present in all. So to become harmoniously balanced in all the 4 yogas, that is my ideal of religion, Swamiji says. He designed even the symbol of Ramakrishna order in such a way to show the synthesis of all the yogas. We have seen, many of you must have seen this symbol. There is a swan in the center which represents the Paramatman or the Supreme Soul. And there are the ocean and the waves that represent the path of action. The sun represents path of knowledge, and the lotus represents path of devotion. And the serpent encircling the whole represents the Kundalini Shakti or the Raja Yoga. And in fact, Swamiji's message means it's a message of strength and fearlessness. And he always said, strength is life and weakness is death. Reject all that weakens you as poison. Strength is at the root of all the important virtues, and all other virtues are only like branches, leaves, or fruits, other flowers. And he says, why we are miserable? Because we are afraid. Weakness is the cause of all our misery and suffering. We lie, we steal, and we commit blunders because we are afraid and we are weak. We need strength not to commit any wrong. Where there is nothing to weaken us, there is no death and no sorrow. Strength in all dimensions, physical, mental, intellectual, and spiritual, that was stressed by him. And he says, infinite possibilities are present in all of us. We need only to manifest them. You become whatever you decide, if you really want to. If you think you are good, you can actually be so. If you think you are weak, you are useless, incapable, you will be that. So, have faith that you are all born to do great things. Let not the bark of puppies frighten you, no, not even the thunderbolts of heaven, but stand up and work. So that was Swamiji's message, always positive. He also says, unselfishness is most paying. It is the highest spiritual virtue, but people do not have any patience to practice it. You will go to hell if you think of your own salvation, but if you work for the salvation of others, then you are going to reach the highest spiritual eminence. What if you go to hell also by trying to help others or do good to others? That would be far better than you are achieving heaven for yourself. And he says, all love is life, all selfishness is death. He alone lives who lives for others. Others are more dead than alive. So feel, my children, feel. Feel for the poor, the ignorant, the downtrodden. Feel till the heart stops, the brain reels, and you think you will go mad. Then will come power, help, and indomitable energy. Money does not pay, nor name. Fame does not pay, nor learning. It is love that pays. It is character that cleaves through the adamantine walls of difficulties. So his love of humanity was not limited to only Indian countrymen. It was always universal. And he had superhuman sensitivity to other people's suffering. One of his brother disciples, Divyanananda, gives a report at an interesting incident for which he was himself a witness. He used to stay in the room adjacent to Swami Vivekananda's room while in the Belur Math, the headquarters of Ramakrishna Math and Mission. And one day at night, 2 a.m., he came out of the room and saw Swamiji was strolling up and down in the corridor and asked what was the reason for his sleeplessness. And Swamiji says, well, I was sleeping quite well only in my room, but suddenly I felt a sort of shock, a jolt, as if I feel there must be some great calamity, some great accident or something where thousands of people must have died. Now Swami Vijnanananda, he never gave much importance to Swamiji's words. He thought it is impossible that Swamiji should be lying in his room on his bed and he should be able to know the misery or suffering and disaster that happened somewhere else. But the very next day he read in the newspaper headlines that there was a great volcanic eruption near Fiji Islands where thousands of people have lost their lives. And it had happened exactly at the moment when Swamiji had that shock. He felt that shock at night. And Swamiji used to say, the ignorant and the poor are also another form of the Lord, the Narayana himself. And when he says, as long as even a stray dog of my country remains without food, my religion will be to feed it and take care of it. All else is either non-religion or false religion. He knew that there is no use of religion for empty stomachs. First, a man must have bread to eat, and then only he can practice religion. In fact, the main reason of his going to the West was to get some funds for the poor and miserable countrymen of his so that they could progress also. So after he returned from abroad, he worked all his last days in doing many service activities for uplifting the miserable humanity in India. And Swamiji said another important thing, that was science and religion, these two go hand in hand together. They are not two contradictory paths. They take us to that same ultimate goal. Swamiji very much hopes that the meeting of the East and West would result in a wonderful harmony, and each of them would share what was best in it, and that would be for the good of both. East giving its deep spirituality to the West, and the West sharing its wonderful progress in science and technology. And thus, Swamiji himself was like a bridge between the East and West, and in understanding the culture and values of each. Parliament of Religions also, it was like a gate to opening for this meeting of the East and West. Roman Rolla, his biographer, said another important statement. In these two words, equilibrium and synthesis, Vivekananda's constructive genius may be summed up. He embraced all the paths of spirit, the four yogas in entirety, renunciation and service, art and science, religion and action. From the most spiritual to the most practical, he was the personification of harmony of human energy. So the message of prophets like Swamiji, it goes on inspiring eternally people everywhere. Swamiji said in his last days, it may be that I shall find it good to get outside of this body, to cast it off like a disused garment. But I shall not cease to work. I shall inspire men everywhere until the world shall know it is one with God. His call is still inspiring and ringing and calling all of us, arise, awake, and stop not till the goal is reached. Swamiji did not preach any sectarian religion and not any particular God, not even about his own master. He preached these highest ancient teachings of Hinduism and philosophy in such a way acceptable even to the most modern and scientific minds, as Vedanta, the most rational philosophy which can include all religions of the past, present and future, and all men can meet in real feeling of brotherhood. And though before Swamiji came to the West, there were some Western scholars like Emerson, Thoreau and others. They had also studied the Indian philosophy and religion. But it was Swamiji who for the first time defined Hinduism in its true glory and true greatness as the Vedanta, the universal religion. And New York Herald, the famous newspaper of the day, reported after his speech that Vivekananda is undoubtedly the greatest figure in the parliament of religion. After hearing him, we feel how foolish we were to send missionaries to that learned nation. So when a man reaches the highest state of evolution, when all distinctions of caste, creed, race, sex and everything ceases to exist for him, then and then only he will realize the common basis of all humanity that will pave the path for universal brotherhood. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat.
Thank you very much, Bhavaniprana Mataji, for a wonderful talk and giving a message of Swamiji's on universal brotherhood. Now I would like to request Radhaji to introduce Divyanandaprana Mataji. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Mataji, for bringing forth and putting in front of us that unending heart with no limits and which does not accept any difference, the heart of Swami Vivekananda. Now I'm looking forward to the brilliance that comes forth. Pravrajika Divyanandaprana Ji will talk to us about the essence of Vedanta. She is a monastic member of Sri Sharada Mat and is a renowned expert in the areas of Yoga Vedanta with a unique combination of knowledge in conventional sciences and traditional yogic and Vedantic texts. Pravrajika Divyanandaprana has been lecturing across India since 2010, including in prestigious institutions such as several IITs where she conducts and coordinates courses for the students. Internationally, Pravrajika Divyanandaprana Ji has traveled extensively to hold classes or deliver lectures and retreats at several prestigious universities in US and Europe. She is also the editor of English journal, Samvit, published from New Delhi, Sharada Mat, and she was also the principal of Nivedita Vidya Mandir School from 2014 to 2019. She is also the author of books Science of Happiness and Self-Discovery, both of which are available on Amazon, and we have a few copies here in this bookshop if you want to check it out. Currently, she is extensively working on Vedanta as a science of consciousness. When you hear Mataji, we are in front of a brilliance that envelops us. And you go a little deeper, you will find her, at least I found her. Essentially, she is a yogi. Left to herself, she wants to revel in solitude. And if you go a little bit closer, you will see this simple, unassuming person who you can relate to without any hesitation. You know the word in Sanskrit, the saralata. I see that quality in her. And we are extremely fortunate to have both the Matajis address us. And I would request Pravrajika Divyanandaprana Ji to come and give us a
Om anitya drishyeshu vivichya nityam tasmin samadhatta iha smalilaya viveka vairagya vishuddha chittam yosau viveki tamaham namami. My pranams at the holy feet of the holy trio, Thakurma and Swamiji. Pranams to all the Matajis here and namaskars to all devotees. It is such a joy being here. It's really thrilling for us because this is holy ground under our feet, where Vivekananda walked, where he stood. It's such a beautiful spot to select for this meeting. And really thanks to all the people who have worked towards this. It gives us such a joy to be in a place where Vivekananda has been. The topic selected for me is the essence of Vedanta. It's the topic after my heart. You know, once Sri Ramakrishna was asked, what is the essence of Vedanta? And he said, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. And he went silent after that. Silence. Brahman, universal consciousness, is the truth, and the world of manifestation is unreal, and silence. Then as we ask always after a question like this, how do we realize that? Somebody asked him this once. How do we know Brahman? And you see how pithily he puts it, briefly. He says, Nangta used to say, that is his guru, Totapuri, his Vedanta guru used to say, when you merge the mind into the buddhi, the higher intellect, and the buddhi into bodha, pure consciousness, you have the knowledge of Brahman. And he went silent after that. So you see, the clearly defined methodology for Vedanta. How do we know Vedanta? This is how you know it. This scattered mind has to come together and get converted into the higher intelligence. You merge the mind into the buddhi. And this buddhi, if it can be made to merge into its substratum, pure awareness, pure consciousness, you have the knowledge of Brahman. So this is entirely first-person research methodology, because it's your awareness that we are talking about. Your consciousness. And so there is no third-person methodology here. See, I can give you a huge history of Vedanta. Okay, I can tell you it's a philosophical system born of the Upanishads and all that you already know. But it is to do with your awareness, with the sense of I am within us. If we can scrutinize and investigate into that, you will know the essence of Vedanta by yourself, because that is what is Vedanta. It is the universal philosophy of the Upanishads, but the subject matter is your consciousness, is a heart of being, pure being, awareness, consciousness that they are talking about. So this forms the most important literature on the planet, the Upanishads, the Upanishadic literature. It is talking only about the consciousness shining in each one of us, the light in your eyes, the breath in your nose. It is talking about your true, unchanging being. And in everyone it's the same. In fact, that alone is our true identity, unchanging identity. And the rest is the manifestation which is constantly changing. So it is the very essence of existence that we are talking about. That is why you see, anybody who dives deep into it goes silent. That is the essence of the Upanishads. That is the essence of Vedanta. And then, you see, Sri Ramakrishna's is always the last word. If anybody asked him, what is this reality like? He would say, well, it is with form, it is formless, again it is beyond both. What do you make of this now? It is with form. It can come with form. In fact, that's the definition of Ishvara. The form with attributes, that aspect of Brahman. So technical definitions are like, they are very, very logical. The technical definition of Ishvara is, it is the collective samashti ajnana upahita chaitanyam Ishvara. This is how it is defined. Which means there is conjunction of consciousness with collective ignorance, but he lords over it. The Maya is under him, and that is the concept of Ishvara. So this aspect of God, the universal consciousness, can be with form, can be without form, can be with attributes, can be without attributes. So this all includes the various facets of that consciousness. And if you actually look into any religion, they are covering one or two of these facets, these aspects of universal consciousness. So Sri Ramakrishna used to say, and again he is beyond both form and formlessness. And then he gives us a classic example, of a very beautiful illustration of this in the metaphor of an ocean. He says, you see, there is this huge expanse of water which we call the ocean, but when there's a cooling influence on that ocean, it condenses into ice, isn't it? There are icebergs everywhere in an ocean. There can be icebergs. And then when the sun arises, the sun of knowledge, the iceberg melts and becomes water again. So the form melts into the formless. He can take any form. Come to us as, you see, the whole lot of Devis and Devatas that we have. He can take any form. Come to us as we want him to come. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. He says in the Gita. That means he comes to us in a form we relish, we want. And at the same time, the form melts into the formless. His real nature is without form, without attributes. So in all these beautiful ways, Sri Ramakrishna is describing for us the essence of Vedanta, the nature of ultimate reality. And where does he reside? Where does he reside? Again, Sri Ramakrishna answers this question. He says, the ordinary devotee will say, he resides up there in the heavens, above the clouds. A whole lot of people believe in that. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, and the mediocre devotee will say, he resides in my heart as the Antaryamin, as the indwelling controller. But the superior devotee will say, he is all that there is. He is existence itself. He is this very manifestation of that existence. He alone is, the world is not. He is the identity within us, the I am sense within us. If you scrutinize actually these statements of Sri Ramakrishna, it becomes very clear the essence of our being is God. Pure existence is God. Pure consciousness is God. And bliss, it is a blissful being. That is God. And that is our very own nature. So, verily, that's why Vivekananda addressed us as divinities on earth. Amritasya putra. Children of immortal bliss. That is our real nature. sparks of divinity. That's the light shining in your eyes. So this is the concept of divinity in Hinduism, in Vedanta. So Vedanta is a very old philosophy which is talking of these truths, 8,000 years old. The Rig Veda dates back to beyond 8,000 years. They are the oldest manuscripts available to humankind. And with this first-person research methodology, which is described in the Upanishads, the very essence of the Vedas. So there they are not talking about a personal kind of God. They are talking about the consciousness shining in all beings. And then there is a way to this, isn't it? What is the way to dive into this literature and to know myself as Brahman, as pure consciousness? So the methodology also is very clearly defined. You start with existential inquiry, which means inquiring the fundamental facts about my own existence, about my own personality. What is the truth about my personality? And if you penetrate into this, you will see there are sort of two eyes functioning in us. One is what is called the aham vritti, the I thought, which contributes to our personality sense, which is the external crust of our true being. But the real I, the unchanging I, it's called by different names, aham sphuran, aham tattva. Raman Maharshi called it aham sphuran. That is the I, the deepest I awareness, pure being, sense of awareness within us. Far beyond the thought process, far beyond the, I thought. So this sense of pure being is the real unchanging I. And the magical thing is, it's the same in all of us. One being manifesting through so many bodies and minds. In the truest sense of the term, you are me in another form. That's all. That's the difference between you and me. One being, different forms, different names, different personalities. So the I thought contributes to your personality sense, but this aham sphuran, aham tattva actually contributes to pure being, one consciousness shining in all of us. So this is how you can know, you can get into the real spirit of Vedanta, the essence of Vedanta, and this is followed by usually a meditation process. That's the methodology, because Vedantic inquiry is a logical inquiry into the nature of our existence. But then you leave logic behind. You go beyond that to a certain absorption into the state of pure being. So inquiry and meditation is the methodology of Vedanta. And then you may say, but then why do we see ourselves as personalities, as individuals, and then this world of manifestation? See, these are the normal questions that follow a discussion like this. Why do I see multiplicity here? Why do I see difference? And the problems that come with difference and variation. Everyone is different from me. I am unique. And then all the problems coming into our lives. Why do I see this? Why do I encounter this? Why do I feel this? So then the answer given by Vedanta here is, you see it due to a special mechanism of that very same supreme consciousness, which is called Maya. You are seeing through the lens of Maya, so you see difference. You don't see consciousness. You don't see the one reality. We are seeing different individuals with different personalities, different mindsets, different philosophies. So naturally there is difference. There is clash in thought, in feeling, in emotion, in personality. And so I see multiplicity everywhere. I don't see any form of unity in real life. So you're looking through the lens of Maya. Yes, I am seeing a podium. I am not seeing wood. And it so happens the podium is wood. Actually, this podium is nothing but wood. But the wood sense is gone. I am seeing only a podium. And we are so interested in the podium, I can't see the wood. Although it's right there. Where our differences are, right there, there is unity. Where I see personality, right there is consciousness. But I'm not seeing it. Because of my deep interest only in the podium, the mind is sort of, fragmented, cornered into a certain sense. And this is Maya. This is Maya, because Maya is nothing but aghatana ghatana patiyasi, which means she will make possible what is impossible. She will make manifest something far remote from the reality of things. It is a possibility. And so you are seeing only difference here, you are seeing problems. Brahman is right where the manifestation is. Consciousness is right where differences appear. But you have to develop that jnana drishti. Drishti jnanamayam kritva pashet brahmamayam jagat. Change in perception. When you switch your inner consciousness, transform your consciousness, you switch your perceptions. So don't try to go anywhere. In Pangot retreat, I will find God. This is the usual understanding of the mind. I will go somewhere and find God. You will only find Him. Anybody who has found Him in the here and the now, because it is intrinsically my consciousness that is being called Brahman, pure consciousness, uninvested in the mental process which is giving us all these ideas. So to track it down to its source, we require a method. We require a method. And that method will put down the Maya. You know, Maya has a particular mechanism through which it functions. It's a mental mechanism called adhyas. These are all technical terms. Don't think, oh, they are all big terms. They are actually very simple concepts. The mechanism through which Maya functions is adhyas, superimposition, which means it is atasmin tad buddhi. You are seeing something where it is not. You are seeing something where it is not, trying to find something where it is not, and totally convinced you will find it there. And we are doing it all the time. We are trying to search the I sense in the body-mind complex, in our personalities, in our so-called individuality. You won't find it there. It doesn't belong there. So there's a funny story, you know. I can tell you one or two funny stories in this very serious talk. So one man was found frantically searching for something under a street light. It was dark, it was dusk, beyond dusk, and he's searching for something very frantically under a street light. So his friend comes along and says, "Oh, what are you searching for? Can I help you?" And he says, "I'm searching for a key." "Oh, you lost it here? When did you lose it?" "No, I lost it at home." "Then why are you searching for it here?" "Because it's dark in my home and there's light here. So I'm searching for the key here, but I lost it at home." He knows that. See, we are searching for consciousness and happiness where? First here, in the outer world. Next in the body and the mind, through the body and mind. It doesn't lie there. They are instruments of perception, instruments of cognition through which you are supposed to function. Meant for survival, not meant for knowledge. Not meant for liberation. You will find the key where only you lost it. You lost it in the self, in the soul. No use searching under the street light. The senses are like street lights. They are throwing light. So we are searching for happiness here, for consciousness here. So search for the truth where you lost it. Go to the source of your being. You will find it there. That's where you lost it. Because we identified very quickly with the body-mind complex. Yes, the wood is where the podium is, where the lectern is, and you won't find it anywhere else. So this is the whole idea about superimposition. You know, you are trying to find reality in a very different way. We have sort of mixed up truth and falsehood. One of the definitions of adhyas is that satya anritam mithunikaranam adhyasa. You have mixed up truth and falsehood. You know, when the mind is deluded, it can mix up a whole lot of things, consciousness, energy, matter. See, everybody is searching for the ultimate truth in their own sphere of life. I have met so many scientists and professors, they are all doing the same thing, searching for ultimate truth about this existence in their own particular disciplines. And we are also doing that. But when the mind, when the higher intelligence is confused, it can mingle things up. It can mash up things. Fusion, this is the age of fusion. So we mix up things. And we have mixed up consciousness and matter like that. There's this old joke of a professor who would go on a walk sharp at 5 p.m. every day. Professors are always, they go by the clock, by the timepiece. So every day at 5, he would put down his spectacles and take up his walking stick and put on his coat and go on a long walk. And after, say, about half an hour, 45 minutes, he would come back, hang his stick on the hook, and go and lie down on his bedstead, take a little rest, and then go back to his work. This was daily routine with him. One day he went on his walk, and his friend signaled him from a bar and said, "Come on in, come. Let's have a drink together." And then one drink turned into 2 drinks and 3 drinks, and now the professor is all drunk. And then when he came home, he was so confused, he put the walking stick on his bed and hung himself on the hook. Hung his coat, hung himself on the hook and stood there. Consciousness and matter can mingle when the intellect is deluded, drunk. This is what is happening with us. Satya Anrita Mithuni Karanam is, we are trying to find consciousness in matter. You call it neuroscience. You are trying to find consciousness in, the mainstream scientific disciplines. But please see this, please try to understand this. Mind and intellect itself, they themselves are shining due to consciousness. How will they reveal consciousness? We are trying to accommodate Brahman in mind and intelligence. The instruments of perception have to rise to the level of pure consciousness. You have to learn to transcend mind through a meditative process. But how can you try to accommodate reality into our little mental makeup? So when consciousness and matter mingle, all these things happen. Eternal confusion on this plane of existence. We are trying to find reality through instruments of perception, through instruments of cognition. So we'll try to do a whole lot of these things until you corner Vedanta and understand the fundamental tattva, the basic principle that they are trying to point out. These senses cannot reveal reality. They are meant for survival in this world, not for knowledge. This mind also cannot reveal reality. That is why yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasasaha. The speech and mind, they revert back from there, that plane, unable to touch it. So then what is the method? Going beyond Maya, using a means to wake up into the reality of the self. And this happens best in 2 ways. One is deep yearning, pursuing knowledge for its own sake. This is the fulfillment of human life. The pursuit of knowledge for its own sake. For its own sake, not for whether it gives me a good job and a good salary. No, for its own sake, because that is the truth of existence. Even one aspect of the truth of existence will liberate you, not to speak of the essential truth of all manifestation. So pursuing knowledge for its own sake and through a guide, through a guru. These are the means to liberation, to the process which frees the mind from Maya. This love of knowledge for its own sake itself is a liberation. It's a mini liberation. And if it can be done in, Sri Ramakrishna used to say, the only way to the vision of the Divine Mother is Vyakulata, with that yearning. If you can power it with that level of yearning, that you can't live without, see how we are passing through life without knowing who I am. Without knowing the truth of this amness being. So this thirst for knowledge, if that can come into us in its purest form, you will automatically come to Vedanta. Because what knowledge can be more interesting than knowledge of my own being? Tell me. So this is why they will insist on a methodology and a guru, a guide who will show you the way. out of this. But the process itself, finally, it is about waking up to reality. You just wake up. You just wake up. You know how Vedanta sees reality? Reality, this is also important in understanding the essence of Vedanta. Reality must have these characteristics. First of all, it must be unchanging. It's not a different thing at different times. It's the same thing. Now tell me, is there anything in this universe which is unchanging? There's only one continuum to this level of existence, and that is consciousness. That does not change. Mind changes, body changes, world of objects is constantly changing. Everything else changes. So, unchanging substratum. First, definition of reality in Vedanta. Second is, it must be eternal. That doesn't mean it goes on and on and on in time. It means time is in it. The parameter of time which thought uses to measure something, it goes beyond that parameter. You see, time, space and causation are actually located in the mind. Consciousness goes beyond that. So only consciousness can be reality. The third definition of reality is, it must be abadhita, unnegatable by any means. Whether you apply logic, any scientific paradigm to it, you cannot negate it. Vivekananda used to say this, that what did he used to say? That it transcends logic but does not contradict it. That's the nature of Vedanta. Vedanta, you can apply as much of logic you can, and it will walk through it without any problem. But it will help you transcend that level of logic too. But it will never contradict logic. So the nature of spiritual truth is like that. It is abadhita, unnegatable, and it is self-luminous. That's the fourth definition of reality, which means it shines in its own light. Yes, check and see, do body and mind have a light of their own? They are functioning on borrowed consciousness, because I become aware of the body, body does not become aware of me. I become aware of my thoughts, thoughts do not become aware of me. This itself means there's something more primary to the thought process, to body consciousness, to world consciousness. That is what we are talking of, Brahman. It is self-luminous by its very nature. You don't need another lamp to reveal a lighted lamp, do you? The light of the first lamp itself will reveal itself. You don't need a torch to see the sun, because the sun is self-luminous. You see him by his own light. You see it by its own light. So also, you see consciousness by its own light. It alone is self-luminous. Everything else borrows light and functions on borrowed light. That is why it has phases. Even the mind has different phases of awareness, mental awareness, because it is borrowing light. But the tattva in itself, self-luminous, pure light, pure being, consciousness itself. So this is the definition of consciousness, reality in Vedanta. If something has to be real, it must be ever existent, ever unchanging, and beyond time, space and causation, and unnegatable and self-luminous. Only one entity satisfies all these conditions, and you can't even call it an entity. The principle of consciousness, pure consciousness. I am not talking of mental awareness. I am talking of consciousness in itself. So only this can satisfy the criteria of reality, and that is why this is called the supreme truth of existence. Brahman, Brihatvad Brahman, the vast, infinite ocean of consciousness is the reality shining in each one of us. I am that. That is my real nature. And Tattvamasi, Shvetaketu, you are verily that. That is your real identity. This is the message of Vedanta. And Vivekananda used to say, he preached only Vedanta, always. I have never quoted anything other than the Upanishads, he would say. And the Upanishads are an infinite mine of strength, in which you will find strength enough to invigorate the whole world, because they are talking of this principle of unitary consciousness. This principle of pure being, which is called, you can call it God, you can call it Brahman, It is this that they are talking about. And that is why he used to say, this is the rationale of every religion. It's the simplest way in which you can put truth. That is Advait Vedant. The essential truth of existence. That is being put in this way. And that is why he used to say, this is the future of thinking humanity. So, it is the essence of being in each one of us. Many things he has said, but let me go to the actual process by which this is realized through a very simple story. I have just another 2-3 minutes and I will conclude with that story. See, you have to, let's see if you can catch it, what they are trying to say. We'll try the experiment right on you. It's a very interesting story. Follow it carefully because the catch is in the end. There is this a group of school children, primary school children, very young, just 5-6 years old. And they have a teacher who's very mature, quite elderly, and she knows the ways of children. So when she has to drive home a point, she knows how to teach them. So now they are sitting in a classroom, and the teacher is going to teach them something, and the children are all big-eyed looking at her, little ones. And then the teacher says, look, kids, today I'm going to teach you something important. See, after you finish your classes here today, imagine you go home and there your mommy feeds you and then you go out into the park and have a good time, you play and you exhaust yourself and then you're back home, you watch a little television and then mama feeds you again and then you go to sleep. And in that sleep, now you went deep into sleep, you got a dream. In that dream, now you have suddenly come to the zoo. Yes, and in that zoo, you find in the line, you're standing there and there's all your friends are also there and their parents. So now it's all fun because all your friends are there and then you buy some popcorn and cotton candy and then you're ready now to explore the zoo. And all of you, in great joy, great cheer, you entered all the different places. You first see all the herbivores, the small animals, the rabbits and the peacocks, the birds. Then you come to the place where they have the elephants, the huge Asian and African elephants, and they're so majestic, and you're just carried away by the beauty of the whole thing. There are also baby elephants. Then you come to the place where there's the hippopotamus, there's the rhinoceros, huge animals, and you can see them from a distance, and you and your friends are seeing everything, and you're so happy at that moment, seeing all these huge animals, and then finally you come to the cages where there are those really, really terrifying big animals. You see the tiger and the lion, and when you come to the cage of the really big tiger in that zoo, he's so huge that, he's walking from all over the cage and the cage is actually shaking. See, I actually saw this, when I was on a South African safari when I was in South Africa, and they have those huge cages in which the tigers are double the size of the Indian tiger, okay? And when that huge creature looks at you, you really feel terrified because very huge beast. And when he hits the cage, the whole cage shakes, So now the children are watching this in the zoo, and this huge tiger, the top of the cage is open. Yes, it's a huge cage, but the top is open, and then they have a kind of a mini forest around that cage where the tiger can come out and move and all that. And then there's a moat, a body of water around that. And then there's a fence, and beyond the fence you can look at and admire the tiger. So it's like that, and then it so happens that this beast in the cage suddenly hits the cage very hard because he's seeing so many kids in front of him. He hits the cage very hard and the cage bends towards one side, and lo and behold, the tiger has jumped out of the cage now because the top is open. Now he's in that between those trees around the cage, and he's moving about growling, and such a terrifying beast he is, and you're looking at him And now he comes down to the moat, to the body of water, and tigers can swim. He swims across that, and you're watching, and now suddenly all of you step back, because now there's only a fence between you and the tiger. He's come up to that point, and before you can understand what is happening, he suddenly jumps from there, and he roars, and he's now trying to come out of the fence. And then all of you start running backward and yelling, and then you start running backward without looking back. Now you just start running. All your friends are also yelling and running. The parents are running helter-skelter. And then you can clearly see that there's a roar, and the tiger is out of the fence also. He's right behind you. And you run and run and run at top speed. Suddenly you find a cold paw falling on your shoulder. You're terrified. You look back and see the terrible face of the tiger is upon you. Now he's actually upon you. And you face this horrible prospect of being eaten alive. And what would you do, my kids, in this situation? And then one little boy is so terrified, almost crying. He says, "I will pounce the tiger on his face." Another little boy says, "I'll call to my mother, she will come and help me in that situation." But one little girl stands up and says, "Ma'am, I would just wake up." That's how I would escape the tiger. Because remember, it was all happening in a dream. So this is the way of Vedanta, to wake up to reality. You don't have to punch the tiger. You don't have to yell at somebody to come and help you. You have to wake up to reality. A transformation of your own consciousness will give you an inkling of what they are talking about. A transformation of our own consciousness. Without this, our perceptions are very jaded, if I can put it like that. They are very strange. We are perceiving through the lens of Maya. So we don't see the truth of Vedanta. But a little clarity coming through spiritual discipline, through everyday discipline, will give us this sense when our own awareness is transformed, your perceptions switch. You will see a unitary consciousness where I was seeing multiplicity. We will see the truth of Brahman. It all happens right within ourselves. God is where we are. The truth is where we stand. Reality is right within us. Our perceptions have to change, that is all. So to wake up to reality is the essential thing. It will come through spiritual practice, discipline, and the aid of a guru. An illumined mind can show the way. A mind which is itself covered in Maya cannot show the way. This is not about directions. This is about going within and putting down mind, transcending mind. So this is the essence of Vedanta. Vivekananda used to say, on these very platforms he spoke about this. This is the truth shining in each individual. This is the reality of existence. It is the truth in every religion. And that is why religion means harmony. Religion is meant for harmony. That's the only message of any religion. And if we can go to the very core, the kernel, which Mataji referred to, then you will find this reality shining there. The truth of our being, which is not different from the consciousness of God. This is the essence of Vedanta. With this, I would like to conclude so that we can have a vibrant Q&A, and we will open the floor to that. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Divyanandaprana Mataji for giving a wonderful message of Vedanta on essence of Vedanta. I think both Matajis gave a great talk, so now it's your turn to participate in this and ask questions. Hard or difficult questions are okay, so don't be shy, please. Before that, also I want to make one announcement that after the program is over, Mataji will be here in front of the steps there. and so to greet people. So you can form the line on one side and then meet Mataji. You will have an opportunity at that point. So now please, we'll have 2 microphones. Yeah, so they will be going around. So if you have questions, please raise your hand, and then they will come around. Please speak into the mic properly so that, your question could be heard.
Namaste, Mataji. Thank you so much for being here. I have a pretty straightforward question, but I'd love to get your thoughts on these 2 paths of bhakti, one called Markata and one called Majara. My understanding, it's like one is like a baby kitten who just is kind of desperate, goes meow, 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 and just waits for grace. And the other one is the Markata, the monkey, the other baby monkey who clings on tightly to the Guru or Ishvara, whatever you want to call it. Can you just say something about that, please? Because I don't know which one I should follow. Should I be a kitten or should I be a monkey? That's the question. Yeah.
You know, I think Mataji will be much better answer than you get. Sandeep.
Good first question.
You want to know which type you want to become, a monkey type or the other type, cat. One is, the cat is, in one case it is depending on its own energy, and other is depending on the mother, no? That thing they're asking.
He's asking which one to be.
Which one? It is your, according to your tendency. Suppose you have an independent self-effort and energy to do things you are capable. Then you have to become the other one. That you depend on the mother. The Divine Mother will do everything for you, but you need surrender. If you have surrender and depend on the Divine Mother, she will do things for you. But if you have what we say, we can do ourselves, saprayatna, the self-effort, that is, I can do myself. And as long as a little ego is there, we would like to do ourselves, try first. When we fail, then we go to Mother. So, in the beginning, we all try. Whatever God has given the power, we put our efforts to the maximum limit. Then we find out our efforts are not so enough. We need to depend on the Divine Mother's grace. So there is always a grace and self-effort, the controversy, no? For some people, self-effort is more important. For some people, for a devotee, it depends on grace. For a jnani, he depends on self-effort. I am the truth, I know everything. With my own effort, I shall realize the truth. That is a path of knowledge. And if you are a devotee, you think, no, I am very insignificant, my capacity is limited, so I depend on the Divine Mother to do everything for me. So they are like cat-like type. Monkeys wants to do itself. Okay.
Pranam Mataji. Going back into the example, or rather the end story, the little girl giving the wise answer, wake up, right? But that is possible when you know that you are sleeping. So for the people who are in the suffering, in the pain, so they don't have that consciousness of that they are sleeping and this pain is unreal and all that. It is real because the person is experiencing. So what would be the advice for them?
So when we take whatever impinges on our senses and mind to be absolutely real, if that is the condition, then it is very, very important to still the mind and try to see it for what it is. First thing, how real is what I'm experiencing? Why do I take this level of perception alone to be real? See, this inquiry is very, very important. In Vedanta, usually how it is, there's also a point for the first questioner. You must exhaust all your capacities before you can really surrender. If you are not doing that, surrender is not lip talk. If we are not doing that, if we don't exhaust all our powers in trying to know truth, you can never really surrender at the feet of either Guru or God. So it is important to scrutinize all these our normal perceptions. Investigate deeply into that. In fact, inquiry means that. How real is what appears real just now? Does it stand the test of time? Does it give me knowledge in an ultimate sense? Does it give me a higher experience? So if you think like this and see, you will see that we function in very limited parameters. That is what is called bondage, bandhan of Vedanta. We are functioning as very limited human beings. We are the infinite consciousness, but functioning as Jivatma, embodied beings. And the only source of our knowledge is sense perception and the thought process, which itself is conditioned. And senses themselves are limited. With such limited equipment, how can you know the ultimate? If I arrive at this, then I will learn to first fine-tune my equipment. This is sadhana. You make it more and more subtle, able to perceive more, know more, cognize more. And if I'm able to do that, I will see more. I will know more. So sadhana is about fine-tuning this instrument and developing its capacities to the extent I'm able to see reality as it is, not as it appears to my senses and mind at present. So this is what they are trying to help us do. Nobody came to this knowledge without sadhana. Please know this in the practical world. But reality does not require anything to reveal itself. The story of waking up is just to show how this happens. We don't even know just now we are in a dream, a long drawn out sort of dream. It appears so real, everything. But it's changing, which itself means it is an order of reality which is not ultimate. This is what they are trying to tell us. So through sadhana, develop your understanding. Understanding also is to be developed through sadhana. I remember the beautiful prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. He would say, "Oh Lord, give me only that knowledge that is born of prayer. Give me only that knowledge that is born of prayer." This is what I'm trying to say. Through sadhana, you refine your understanding. You come to the correct perception of things. So that is required before we know. That's the method.
Pranam Matajis. I have been watching your videos, Divyanandaprana Mataji for a very long time, and thank you for all those videos and things. In fact, your Gayatri Mantra video is actually very, very powerful, and I've shared that even with my kids. So it's a good fortune that I'm seeing you here today and listening to you both. I have two questions. The first being, when we talk about mithya and when we talk about maya and the true reality and consciousness, my first question is, why all this maya in the first place? Why? Why this maya exists in the first place? And my second question is, have you realized that supreme consciousness?
No, Swamiji said, no, it is not for us to question why, but it is for us to do and die. And he said Maya is a statement of facts. It is not that why. somehow we have got into bondage. Now how we shall come out of it, that is more important. Then go on speculating why this. There is one story given, I think by Buddha, that somebody has shot an arrow and then doctor is called. That arrow is in your hand. The doctor, does he go on asking, who shot this arrow? When did he shoot this arrow? How many hours before? How far it has entered? What metal this arrow is made of? By the time all the answers are answered, the patient collapses. So, no need of going into why this Maya came and how this came. We are in it. We have to get out of it. Let us try to purify our mind, do sadhana and get out of it. No need of getting into theories, too many theories. It will not help anywhere. Some second question you answer, something else you answer.
So, see, your second question, I can tell you this. Anybody who comes to Vedanta has had some intuitive understanding, feeling about it. Otherwise, they won't come to it. It's a kind of transcendental philosophy, isn't it? Huh? So, rather, you can ask a question like this. Where is the point where you understand the truth about Vedanta? You will understand it just through a meditation process. In meditation, you can feel it. The reality is, you doesn't even require meditation. But our minds are outward turned, so we use a process like that. But reality is ever as it is. It is for us to see it as it is. That is all. And as Mataji said, don't go into the why of it. Why are we in Maya? When you're already in Maya, don't bother why. Now find the way out of it. That's the whole point. Yeah, that will be a real fruitful approach and search.
Mataji, so ultimately, where is the guru that we can surrender to tell us what states of dream we are in, where the reality is? Because sometimes you feel like you're jumping from the frying pan into a fire. You don't know which one is what, which one is better. So in this day and age, how does that word, that guru shiksha thing, it's broken, right? It's Kaliyug. How do we find that person to help us fine-tune our mind, because we can't do it ourselves? That's ahamkaram, right? To think you can do it yourself unless you're a self-enlightened person like Ramana Maharishi.
Find the guru. So they are telling, our Shastra tells, if you prepare yourself, then guru will come to you. You need not go in search of guru. Try to purify and practice, pray to God intensely and strive. Intense desire, I want realization, I want God. Then we know Sri Ramakrishna did not go in search of guru. Gurus came to him. Even otherwise, anybody, it is a unwritten rule in spiritual life. If your mind is ready, the guru ought to come. How to find guru? Otherwise, how can we go and search? But when you meet a guru, then you have to judge also whether that guru is according to your expectations and what you want spiritual life. That guru knows that. We can put some test. Everybody, even Sri Ramakrishna was tested by Swamiji and others. Whether the guru is teaching for money, name, fame, or the guru is really a spiritually advanced person and giving knowledge out of love, then you can accept. You have the great traditions, so many traditions, like the Ramakrishna tradition is one of the traditions. There are Shankaracharya tradition, various traditions. They are all having definitely advanced gurus at the top. If you go, you can get gurus. But if you are really sincere, the guru whom you need will come to you. That is also there.
Thomas Mataji. It was wonderful lectures by both of you. We really enjoyed it. Question that I have always in mind, that keeps coming again and again, is Sri Ramakrishna in Gospel always stresses bhakti. Bhakti is the path of this yuga. And in Bhagavad Gita also, in the 12th chapter, 5th verse, it says, it's difficult for the embodied. And, I listened to your lectures too, the video and so on. You stress so much on jnana. So where does bhakti lead to jnana? How does that happen?
It's a good question, because practically bhakti is the way. Bhakti is the way. Even Shankaracharya said, Swaswarupa Sandhanam Bhakti Uchyate. You have to invoke your entire emotional energy towards the goal aimed at and convert it into devotion. It should not remain merely emotion. It's not an emotional outburst that you have, but it gets converted into a very refined form. When the object of your emotion becomes divine, the emotion becomes devotion. So this is the way to convert the entire vital energy into the state of pure awareness. So without bhakti, nobody has been able to do it. Please know that. Looking at Naren's face, what did Sri Ramakrishna say? Look at his face. Can he be a dry jnani? He's a bhakta. Raman Maharshi, when they would speak about the great saints of Tamil Nadu, Namalvars and them, he would shed tears, and they have recorded in his reminiscences, it was a sight for the gods to see. A sage of his stature shedding tears of devotion at the name of the devotees of God. And Thakur, of course, bhakti was his very element. He has shown the highest depths of bhakti sadhana. So bhakti is very important. When we talk of Vedanta, don't think bhakti is excluded from that. Bhakti yoga is essential part of Vedanta sadhana. All four yogas are means to the realization of Vedanta. And Vedanta is not just Advait Vedanta. All the three systems, Dvaita, Vishishta Dvaita and Advaita, dualism, qualified monism and monism fall under Vedanta. And so Bhakti Yoga is essential part of the Vedantic paradigm. And without bhakti, nobody has ever been able to, because you can't be thinking about something and emoting about something else. So without invoking your entire emotional energy and transforming it, converting it into devotion to God, nobody can come to the real essence of Vedanta. This is the fact about life. So it's important to develop bhakti sadhana also, no doubt. In the future, we'll be working on this, because they are asking for bhakti retreats everywhere. That's been my experience. See, when we come to United States also, initially we thought it's all about Vedanta, they want Vedanta. But when we came here, it's all Holy Mother they want. Everybody wants Ma, 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 Ma. So we know that bhakti is what people actually want. They are yearning for that. So we will develop that whole thing. But you have Vivekananda's marvelous Bhakti Yoga. It's a complete book in itself. The method of bhakti. You can refer to that, yes.
I think we can develop bhakti by so many ways. If you see a real bhakta, you live with that person for some time. And then by reading devotional books are there, so many bhakti granthas, Bhagavad Gita, so many Bhagavat, Ramayana, so many books are there where devotion is given more importance. If you want to develop bhakti, you should read such books. And you should read the lives of great saints and sadhakas who realized God in their life. And then also music, art. Any of this can lead us to bhakti. Suppose you learn devotional music, sing songs, automatically your mind goes inwards. Our art can also be, everything can be directed towards God. So slowly, and when we depend more and more on God, and when we are dissatisfied, this whole world outside, then that love. Sri Ramakrishna said, Vyakulata Yoga. You need not read many books, need not do any sadhana, but you have intense hankering for seeing God, then you can have God realization. So the devotion is the main thing. No? It is not how much japa we did, how much prayer we did, how many books. More than anything, the intent to develop the love for God. So these are all helping. What is it?
What? What does bhakti get converted into?
Bhakti slowly, it becomes slowly pure. In the beginning, maybe bhakti is with self-efficiency. There are Krishna tests, there are 4 types of bhaktas. Artha, Jignasu, Artharthi and Gnani. So maybe you are praying God for success in life, for money and all those things. And then are some difficulties, troubles, misfortunes. So we turn to God. That love is there. But craving for God, for the sake of God, Swamiji said, love for love's sake, devotion for devotion. That we want nothing from God except I want to really see God, I want to talk with God, I want to come in touch. That slowly it becomes purer and purer form of bhakti. Then all other your desires become less. And ultimately it leads to knowledge also. Ultimately you become one with the Supreme. You can merge in your Ishta. So it needs knowledge also. You know your dear God is present in everyone, present in you also. So this will lead to ultimate knowledge also. No, devotion leads to knowledge also.
Thank you, Mataji, for both the Matajis for wonderful exposition and all the organizers also. I have one question. Like they say that whatever you do, you cannot ensure that unless the grace of God comes, nothing will happen. So how there is no formal guarantee by doing 1,000 japas you will get the grace, or by doing this sadhanas will get the grace. So what will ensure or invoke that grace comes? Because some people just stumble into God sometimes. How this grace is evoked?
They say kri means to do something, pa means get. So do something and then you will get. So they say kripa is if you do something, then you will get something. Means first self-effort, then grace. In Kathopanishad there is a beautiful this one. It says, Yame vaisha vrinate tena labhya tasyaisha atma vivrinate tanun swam. It is interpreted in 2 ways. He attains God who intensely hankers to get the knowledge of self or God, whatever you take as a devotee. And the second is, he attains God to whom God favors. It can be interpreted in both ways. Means they say, when you intensely wish to have God realization, then God also showers His grace on you and you will be able to get that. That person who intensely craves and struggles, that person will also get the grace. If you think it will come without doing anything, it will not come so easily. Maybe there are some examples, they say Ajamil, and they did in the previous birth so much tapasya, so in this birth they immediately got. But they must have struggled. But even the desire to struggle comes from God's grace. You have to praise. pray, we have to pray to God that may I have that intense, this one desire. I want to intensely struggle and do sadhana. That also God should give us. So it is both working together, no? You can't say which is more important, which is less important. But unless, as long as we have that energy to strive, Sri Ramakrishna gives that example of bird on the mast. The bird is sitting on the ship mast and he didn't notice that ship somebody has lifted, it is going inside the sea. After going a long distance, it notices everywhere water is there. Now it wants to reach the bank. It flies in different directions and it is not finding the bank anywhere. At last, tired, it sat on the mast of the ship. One day this ship is going to reach the shore. So I shall also go and reach the shore. So first self-effort. It is flying in different directions whether the bank is available. Before that the surrender is not coming. The surrender will come only after you have exhausted your energies and your wings are tired. Then you feel God will take me to the shore. Now I just sit and God will take me to the shore.
One more. Ramiji, one more.
Pranam Mataji, how can we constantly keep our mind? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, so the question is that in this education system, there are so much of bullies and all those, they work, and it creates so much depression to some of the students. And so what kind of universal brotherhood message that you can spread, or how you can promote that to address those kind of issues?
From childhood, you mean how you can develop the feeling of brotherhood? In our schools, we don't give importance to any caste or whether a person is rich or poor. On that basis, we don't take, irrespective of caste, creed, and religion, and rich or poor. And then we treat all the students in the same way, and treat them also mutually develop that feeling of brotherhood. Not treating different persons. Even a very intelligent boy may be there, a very dullard may be there, but treat all of them with same love and affection. Slowly you can develop that mutual brotherhood. The teachers should take care, and the parents are also involved. How the children can get the feeling of brotherhood. Don't encourage the opposite feelings in the children, to think I am superior and somebody else is inferior. Not that idea, but everyone is my brother. Whatever he is, all of them are my brother. That feeling should be developed with the help of teachers and parents and everyone, I think. What do you want to say?
I can tell you my own experience because I have been giving courses in these IITs. Some of the students are well-known bullies and very forceful and all that in their expressions. And whatever they may be doing with their friends, and they even tease some of the teachers and all that, but in front of us they are absolutely like this. So I also wondered at this phenomenon. How is it that they are so respectful towards us, but they are well-known bullies in their own place? So then I came to know they have an intrinsic respect for people who are talking of higher truth. They have an intrinsic respect for people who they feel are living by that, or some kind of that feeling they have. So that's why I'm telling you, teachers and parents must exemplify high values. Must exemplify high values. If you can radiate that energy, a very positive sattvic energy, you can put down any kind of mind. And before us, they are extremely respectful. In fact, I don't recognize any bully anywhere. They are too good in front of us. So I found this phenomenon. So mind affects mind. The kind of energy we radiate towards others is going to come back to us in some way or the other. And that's why it's important. You can only teach values in this way. Values cannot be actually taught, they can be caught. So radiate that level of energy and value and you will get the response. I would say that. Yeah.
My question is very simple. How can we constantly keep our mind on God while functioning in our daily life? Like any practical tips for us?
Thinking I should keep doing japa during my work. You're doing work and japa, work, and it become problem. You have to keep an undercurrent of the consciousness of the divine. Okay, and mind totally focused on the work. And when the work is done, offer it at his feet only, at the feet of the divine. Because the energy you invested in that work belongs to him. Actually, it is his work. Whatever you may think, there are so many beautiful songs on this. He sang that song, Naham, Naham, Tuhu, Tuhu. All our energy belongs to him. Our very consciousness is his. So where is the work yours? So the attitude of surrendering everything, even the work at his feet, and an undercurrent of the divine during the work process. This is important to convert it into a real karma yoga, a means to the divine. Yes.
Pranam Mataji, this waking up process, is it gradual or is it just one?
Just one shot. It's actually not gradual. But you see, when you are not waking up, we have to say it is gradual. With sadhana, it will come. But it just happens. Vivekananda used to say, in the blinking of an eye, it will happen. It's an insight. You don't go through a process to generate an insight. It happens in a flash. So, but the preparation of the mind to digest that flash and for it to come, that preparation is required. Sadhana is required, no doubt. But the experience itself is a flash. Yes.
Okay. That concludes. No more questions? Anyone? There's one last question. Okay.
Pranam Mataji. I have a question on Sharanagati. So everybody, like Ramakrishna says Sharanagati, Vivekananda says Sharanagati, everybody says Sharanagati. Now, what is the scientific basis of Sharanagati? Like, why do you need Sharanagati? What happens, to the mind when you do, or, Thank you.
I think because we are having always the ego sense. As long as ego is there, we can't have complete Sharanagati. So somehow we have to destroy this I and mine and this ego sense. Then only you can have God realization. So all our efforts are in trying to erase that ego, but ultimately Sharanagati means when we realize God is doing everything, it is not in our hands, and by His wish everything happens, we surrender. I already told this, explained, I think. By self-effort will end in surrender to God. So self-effort is the beginning and Sharanagati is in the last. God also expects like that in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna starts with self-effort. First he asks Arjuna to fight and all. But in the last chapter he will say, now you give up everything and surrender to me. Because Arjuna has reached that stage. So spiritual life also begins with self-effort. And Sharanagati means completely I can understand my ego is erased. I just depend on God for everything. God is going to do everything for me. I have nothing in my hand. When I realize. But we all have egos, so we can't easily give up. Suppose somebody, you are close, somebody is very ill. Do you first pray or do you first go to doctor, this doctor, that doctor, you try all means? When all doctors say, no, I can't do anything, then you will think, now only God has to do something for me. No doctor is giving anything. So when we understand our efforts are fruitless, then Sharanagati, that is complete removal. As long as I have ego in me, then God will not do. I read somewhere, somebody asked the flute, why Lord Krishna keeps you on his lips? He said, because I am empty, it is hollow inside. The egoless person, then God fills that with his music.
I guess that concludes the Q&A session. Okay.
So if there are no more questions, I think I would request RK to give the closing word of thanks. And after that, when that is over, then Mataji will be in the front, as I mentioned before. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank both Matajis and also the audience for making this lively and asking so many questions. So thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you. Namaskar. So please.
All right, Rameshji introduced me as RK. Actually, it's Radha Krishna. I'm a member of Vedanta Story of Northern California congregation. That's a long introduction, but the easy introduction is I'm the husband of Radha, so that's easy. I'm standing here to conclude this program with a few remarks. Matajis are here in the US since May 1st week, giving various retreats, courtesy of Sharada Mahila Samiti organization. And we're really grateful for them for having Matajis amongst us for this event. Thank you to the Matajis who really accepted our invitation for this event. Their presence and their talk here today helped us connect with that slice of the past in this church where Swami Vivekananda gave 2 talks right here on the stage in 1900. So thank you Mataji, Bhavaniprana and Divyanandaprana for helping us connect with the past. Thanks are in order to Rameshji for his sage advice and counsel in planning for this event. He was instrumental in getting contact established with the administration of this church and providing guidance and support for this event. So thank you, Rameshji. We have received wonderful support from the church staff. They were very welcoming, hospitable, and supportive of the arrangements we wanted to have for this event. So thank you, Joram, Frank, and Zach. We're also grateful to Mylapore Express. It's a popular South Indian eatery in the Bay Area that has a number of locations here and who would offer us catered lunch, prasad, which follows this event. I'm sure you all know an entire village is required to pull off an event of this nature. A core team organically formed for this event when Radha was orchestrating this back in November, December. So we had this organic core team composed of Anu, Gopa, Alka, Ragini, supported by Kamesh, Nidhi, Ulka, Shakuntalaji, Abhishek, Pinaki, Gangadhar, Shagata, Shankar, Shashi, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of names here, so I apologize ahead, but really required a lot of people to pull this event through. We couldn't have done this without their contribution sacrifices, especially of executing the Memorial Day weekend. That was this past Monday. We all had to go in and set up that function for 450 people. Last but not the least, it's all you here whose engaging presence today brought this event to life. Thank you. Thank you coming from various corners of the Bay Area as well as outside of the Bay Area, navigating all the parking challenges today, I understand, to make this event very memorable for all of us. With that, we want to conclude this program. As Rameshji said, we'll have the Matajis come here, and you can do pranams, and you can form a line here, and then you can exit out towards the ends. As you exit out in the back, there are two books written by Divyanandaprana Mataji. I would like to, it's there in the display, as well as the Samvit magazine from Sharada Math. So please do check out these two books. And with that, I really thank you for all coming over here and appreciate your presence here. Thank you so much.